All right, so let's dive right in. We do have some guests today. Before though, if you haven't joined the sessions before, just a hello from my side. I'm Matthias, Chief Growth Officer at BookingKit, and I'm basically moderating the session today. And with me today, I have three more people. We have Martin from Tiqets, who is co-founder and Chief Supply Officer at Tiqets. So, hi Martin, great having you here.
Hey Matthias, nice to see you.
Nice seeing you again. And then we have Sandra, who is Strategic Business Program Manager for EMEA at Groupon. So also warm welcome to you.
Hi, thanks everyone.
And last but not least, we have Mike, Head of Business Strategy and Global Supply Partnerships at Groupon. Hi, Mike.
Hello. Good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you're at.
So great, big round today as the final session for the Experiences Connect. I'm very much looking forward. And the topic is, in the fast lane, is the tours, activities, attractions industry becoming the leading travel industry? So big question, big hypothesis. How come? So I will give a quick intro on that before I lead over to our partners and experts who are here with us. Tours, activities, attractions are on fire, as I would say. Yeah. In the last couple of years, after many touristic companies have focused on what they started for, nearly any touristic company, nearly any portal, any online travel agency moved into experiences. Booking.com announced it in 2016. Airbnb announced and started their experience offering in 2017. Groupon, who is now here with us, doubled down on experiences. So big brands moved into experiences and also invested a lot of time and focus on this segment. And not only them, but even airlines. Any airline nowadays is also selling tours, activities, attractions. So whichever touristic company you are in touch with, to some degree, they are now also active in tours, activities, attractions. That was a big development which we have seen in the last couple of years, which was not the case 10 years ago or so. And why is that actually? Why did they make this move? Why are they providing tours, activities, attractions to their customers? And I think the reason is that the reason why people are traveling, why they are taking flights, why they are going to a hotel, to an accommodation and booking that, is not because they love to fly or they love to lie in a hotel bed, but basically because they want to experience something. We live in an experience economy. People are looking for great experiences. They see on social media about great experiences other people have done. They get motivated by that, and then they want to plan, book, and experience something great themselves. And that's also why we have seen, I have here this nice comparison of growth, how much are the industries in tourism growing within the last couple of years, and also what is the predicted growth of them. That's also why tours, activities, attractions as a segment in tourism is outgrowing hotels and flights. So while hotels and flights are also increasing or predicted to increase in terms of revenue and number of trips, number of stays in hotels and so on, the tours, activities, attractions industry is predicted to have an annual growth rate of nearly 8%. So big growth ahead, and also bigger growth than we are seeing in other touristic segments. And with that being said, as a quick intro and just setting the stage, I will lead over to Martin from Tiqets, who has some very interesting insights to share from their business.
Thank you, Matthias. So maybe quickly first about myself. So I'm Maarten. I am one of the co-founders of Tiqets. We started the company in 2014. Typical startup, a story, few guys in an attic starting a company. And now what I want to show here today is where we are and what we've done in the past and what we see happening in the next couple of years in terms of growth in the tourism activities industry. So I want to share a few of my thoughts and my insights and also how we as Tiqets are anticipating that growth and how we're adapting to that. So first of all, maybe about our company. I don't know if all of the visitors and all of the viewers know who we are. So just a quick intro. So we are a company that started 2014, and our ambition there was to make culture more accessible. And what do we mean with that? We wanted to make sure that when you book a ticket to an attraction, to a museum, to a theater show, that is hassleless. You can actually do that on your mobile phone. It's quite easy. You don't have to print anything. You can just easily access all of those tickets from your mobile phone. So that's where we started, focus on attractions and museums first. Now we're also expanding with other experiences. We're a worldwide company. We've got presence in more than 55 countries, in all continents of the world. Almost 200 employees. 4,500 experiences and growing fast. We've exponentially grown our supply inventory in the last couple of years. Year to date, more than 23 million tickets experiences sold, and our average take rate there, what we ask for doing those sales to our suppliers. If you look at our company, where did we invest and where did we get that big growth from? That's kind of the question here also. Is the tourism activities industry the leading growth segment in travel? Well, I think it is. If you look at where we came from and where we are now, we've grown a lot, and I think a lot of factors there are important. First of all, of course, we've invested a lot in our supply relationships, connectivity with partners like BookingKit, of course, to be able to actually sell those products online. I think the adoption of online sales has been, growing a lot the last couple of years, and that's been one of the success factors for us. Having that relationship, having connectivity is super important. Of course, we've invested heavily in our capabilities to sell, to market to our end consumer, investing in our product, mobile first, making sure our customers can buy those tickets in a very easy way. What we have done also is make sure that we actually can grow our company at scale. So we've invested heavily in our whole operational side, the way suppliers can actually interact with us, interact with our platform, maintain their own products on our platform. That's all automated. And we've also invested a lot in the demand side. So we ourselves have a platform where we sell, but we also work with a lot of big partners. You mentioned a few in the first slide, but yeah, we also work with a lot of those big travel partners who are more and more investing in tourism activities. So Apple Maps integration, for example, is one where you can actually buy tickets to the Louvre Museum from Apple Maps now using our technology. But we also work with partners from Asia, so Ctrip, Make My Trip, other companies that are really interested more and more into the travel, into the tourism activity sector, and they are using also our technology to do that. So when you look at growth, and if you talk about how fast is it going, and is the tourism activity sector indeed that fast-growing sector? Yes, it is. I mean, of course, we had a huge bump, a huge slump, I would say, in COVID. If you look at pre-COVID, the market was estimated to be around 250 billion. I think that was a big drop, of course, in 2020, 2021 with COVID. Also, we were hit quite heavily. But if you look at the recovery rate and what's expected, last year the recovery was 73% market-wide. Our recovery actually was a lot bigger. We were at 175% pre-COVID compared to 2019. So we actually saw a huge surge of demand as people were traveling, as people were finally getting out of their homes, wanting to experience things again. we saw a huge demand, especially in certain categories. I'll come to that in a minute, but yeah, we see that this has turned around completely. If you look at the outlook for the next couple of years, indeed, we also see still a very good growth and recovery, full recovery expected in 2024. And growing indeed at a very stable rate year over year, just like you said in the beginning, Matthias. So we are also very confident that this market will grow fast and that the recovery compared to 2019 will be steeper and steeper. So positive signals we see. And what does that, what's the factor here? Why are experiences so much faster growing than, for example, flights and hotels? Well, I think there's a few elements here. I think, first of all, the level of commoditization. I mean, everybody can book a hotel. Everybody can book a flight. One hotel can be swapped for another. But on an experiences level, that's completely different. There's only one Louvre. There's only one, Sagrada Familia. And you want to get there. You want to go there. You want to experience that venue. So it's something people always want to experience when they go to Barcelona, for example. I think the margins in this sector are still quite good. So that means also for us, it's interesting to invest. It's also interesting for other travel companies to invest in this segment because the margins they can earn are still good. The purchase frequency is high. I mean, if you look at how many times people actually travel, maybe it's a couple of times a year, but how much do they buy tickets to an experience, or even in their own town, how often do they go to a zoo? How often do they go to theater? Well, much more often. So it's a very interesting segment where people buy lots more. I'm sure Groupon can tell a little bit more about that. They have a very high frequency model, I'm sure. And then, of course, customer engagement. I think the engagement with an experience is super high. People are enthusiastic about it. That's the reason why they travel. That's the reason why they go to a city. That's the reason why they go out in the weekend. We also see that in our platform, a huge engagement from our customers on the number of reviews we get, the number of people that are actually willing to give their own video review to us is really interesting to see. So yeah, a lot of engagement from our customers, and that is interesting to see. I don't think that's as much with hotels. I mean, if the hotel's bad, people will put a bad review. If the hotel is good, well, yeah, of course, the hotel's good, and that's expected. For experiences, I think that's different. So these factors definitely play a role. If you then look at some of the things we see for the next couple of years. Well, first of all, we saw a huge recovery compared to 2019. I think the COVID slump for us is over. I mean, we've grown very, very much. I think, a bit faster maybe than the market, but the market itself has also been, on the recovery, I think faster maybe than we have expected. So that's great. The recovery per region was different. I mean, we definitely saw that Europe and North America were leading. APAC for us also did not recover as fast as the other markets. We do expect from mid-2023 onwards that we will see APAC coming back. We already see it a little bit. We work with quite a lot of partners from the APAC region, and we see already bookings coming in. It's growing. There's a lot more engagement from them also to get more supply on board. So I do have a very strong feeling that, after, let's say, a half year, we will see more and more demand coming from that region. So that's really, really interesting. Attractions for us were the fastest recovering segment. And attractions, we also mean museums, theme parks, general attractions. Those were recovering faster than tourism activities. They stayed slightly behind. And then I think one of the factors here is also, of course, that online bookings, I think, accelerated during pandemic, but also we expect those to, that to grow moving forward. We also, of course, see that offline bookings are coming back a bit because people are now booking also at the door after COVID, but still we expect online bookings to grow and grow. So that will also help us and the online industry to grow faster. Yeah, for us, the main focus for the coming years is to extend our range of experiences. So we will no longer only focus on just venues and attractions. We will expand that also with other experiences from tour operators, from other suppliers. And we'll focus a lot on the in-trip experience. So making sure our customer can actually buy other services as well, transport, etc., so they can use our app to do their full trip experience. All right, then if you look at the markets, yeah, I just have some numbers here. I'll not go into it too much, but what you do see here is that the recovery is indeed different per market. This graph shows that North America, Europe were fastest growing in 2021, 2022 for us. And moving forward, we still expect really big growth from these regions, especially the more mature countries like USA, but also the Southern European countries have been recovering for us the fastest. If you look at Spain, Italy, Portugal, we saw a lot of summer bookings. So we do expect that to continue and that to grow fast. And again, as I said, Asia Pacific will grow from mid-2023, but has been slower in terms of recovery so far. Again, if there's questions, I'd love to hear them in the comments. I'm just going through these slides and just giving a few of my insights, but please give your comments. Then if you look at the category, again, attractions have been recovering fast. Nearly all of our main destinations, we saw the bigger attractions recovering from COVID at 100% already and above. And we do expect we will grow in the next couple of years with them, the volumes and coming back to going over the pre-COVID levels. Strongest segments there for us were art museums, historical sites, places of worship, theme parks. The major attractions really did very well in our platform the last year, and we expect that to grow also next year. And then lastly, we expect for tourism activities to grow and to recover in next year. As well, a bit behind in the last year, but I think they will recover more in 2023. Yeah, then again, the shift on online, just some numbers here. So we saw an increase indeed on online penetration from 2019 to 2022, almost 90% extra. Of course, but there's still a lot of room. I mean, if you look at the online penetration, it's still room for growth. People are still booking offline. There's supply is still not connected. So I think that's a job for you guys, Booking Kit, to get more suppliers using ticketing systems. That also helps us to, of course, expand our inventory. But again, this also is a factor, I think, for growth, and we'll see that continue to increase, I think, the next couple of years. So then, how do we, as Tiqets, how do we work and how do we, support this growth, and how are we anticipating on that? So I just want to show a little bit of how our platform works. So also the operators that are listening can understand a bit what we do and how we do that. So first of all, what we try to do, we try to really be a platform in between the different stakeholders. So suppliers, the end consumer, and also our distributor partners, and how we work with them. And we try to solve challenges for all involved. So if you look at suppliers, what we do, we bring them demand, we bring them solutions to be able to sell on our platform, but also to sell on our distributor platforms. And we give them a lot of data. So we have a data platform where they can actually see who is booking, where are they from, when are they booking, in which languages are they booking, what are the reviews. So we try to really give a lot of insights to our suppliers so they're able to make decisions on products, on assortment, on pricing, etc. So that's really what we try to do on the supplier side. If you look at on the distributor side, so when we work with C-Trip, when we work with Make My Trip, for example, we give them an API connection so they can seamlessly integrate all of the products into their platform. But we also provide them with exclusive products, bundles, packages. We create our own packages in our system, and we also provide those to our distribution partners. And that's for them interesting, because pre-trip, especially people coming from Asia, they book in advance. We give them a package which is interesting to sell to their end clients. So that's something we provide to our distribution partners. And lastly, for the traveler, we focus a lot on this in-trip experience, making sure our platform is suited to do very instant booking mobile, but also make sure that when they use our platform, they will get interesting cross sells. They can buy services like transport. So a lot of other elements in our app, which makes it an app to really use in trip while they're visiting the city. So those are the kind of elements we do. So looking at that, I just wanted to give a quote from one of our suppliers. So why did they work with us? It's not always about demand. It's also about, making sure the experience within the venue is good. The feedback they get from our guests is instant. So when there's a review, when there's a complaint, they see it in our platform, and that helps them also to really anticipate on, what went wrong, what's going well, how can we improve our own experience inside of the venue. So that's something we try to do for our venues. That's some of the distribution partners we work with. Just to give a bit of perspective, so the growth we anticipate, of course, comes from direct sales we do on our own platform, but also using our partners. So especially during COVID, we've invested heavily also to start already connecting with a lot of those partners who might not be able to acquire a lot of attractions and supply themselves, because maybe they had to come back from Europe and not do direct sourcing. So we're helping them to get access to supply. So some of the big ones, C-Trip, Be My Guest, Make My Trip from India, big one, Fever, which is more of a local app, which also uses our platform to sell attractions and tours. So we really try to have a very broad scope of distributors, which I think is important also for operators to have your product out there and in different platforms, different travel partners. That's how I think you can, grow your business and make sure you're present in these different, booking platforms. Another one, so what we also do, we are extending our offering. So we're also interested to get more products from tour operators, from tour agencies, as we are expanding our offering. And I think that's also important for our customer. When they use our app in trip, they want to have a rich experience. They want to see all these different experiences that they can do. So we're investing in that as well. And that will also drive our growth moving forward to expand the inventory and get more stuff on our platform. And lastly, investing in that in-trip experience, I also mentioned it. So what we are doing to the end consumer is adding a lot of value in our app. So personalized pages. We do a lot of cross-sell suggestions. So for example, if somebody buys a Pergamon Museum in Berlin, we will suggest them, hey, you can also do a nice guided tour of the city, or you can also do a visit to the TV Tower in Berlin. So we'll try to combine things. We'll try to give suggestions to the end consumer so they get more insights on what they can do in that destination. And lastly, we also provide additional services so they can get around the city and they can, do more in trip using our platform. And that's kind of where we're investing in our platform, how we're driving that growth, where we see growth happening. And I think can conclude that this is a very, very fast growing sector. We see it at least definitely in our numbers, and happy to answer questions from the operators on what we do, how we do it, and how we can help them to grow even faster.
Yeah, thank you very much, Martin. Very interesting insights, interesting data that you showed here. I think also the thing that you mentioned, that Tiqets is also expanding beyond attractions, more looking also at tours in the future and so on, is exciting for many of the participants which we have here at Experiences Connect. There are 3 questions. One is from Karina, which is, do you guys have an idea why there are still so many suppliers hesitating to use booking technologies?
Honestly, I don't know. If I were an operator, I would definitely invest in a booking platform, Because as you can see, if you are connected to a backup booking platform like BookingKit, you're able to connect to a lot of partners like Tiqets, like Groupon, and maybe not worldwide 1,000, but through us or through other partners, you can also connect to more distribution networks. So I think it makes total sense to invest there, and there's a definite return on investment. I can't imagine that there's not a return on investment when you have a booking platform like BookingKit, because you're missing out. You're missing some customers who might not turn up at your venue and buy a ticket at the door, especially if you're not Sagrada Familia, because I can imagine they get people automatically. You want to invest in a platform, and you want to invest in demand and in distribution. I think a booking platform is the way to go. Yeah.
I couldn't have said it better. Second question is, there was this Apple logo earlier on one of your slides.
Yeah.
You mentioned it. Could you expand a bit more what Tiqets is doing with Apple exactly?
Yeah, so we've integrated with their platform. So Apple has this concept of mini clips, or app clips, I think they're called. So basically what it means, if you search in Apple Maps, you will get a location. So for example, let's say, again, the Pergamon Museum, an example. When you see that location, you click on it in Apple Maps, you get kind of this info box where you get information like the address, other information. There will also be a book button, quite similar maybe to Google Things to Do or Google Maps. When you click on that, you will see a app clip from Tiqets, or a redirect to the Tiqets website, so people can actually book the ticket directly using their mobile phone. So that's how the integration works. And it's not on all locations. It's also something that Apple has rolled out, I think started to roll out last year, and then are expanding that more and more. Also allowing more partners on their platform. I think also Viator is now on that platform. So yeah, that's how they want to add experiences to their environment. And it also shows, I think, if Apple's investing in this, they also find this interesting.
Absolutely. Great. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
There's one last question here, which is also a great closing question, I believe, from Vincent. How can we connect Tiqets with BookingKit? Do you want to take it? Should I?
I'm more than happy if you do it, Matthias.
Yeah, so it's fairly easy. There is one area in BookingKit that is called Reach and Platforms. There you will see all the different resellers, distribution channels which we have connected, including Tiqets. And when you just switch to activate, I want to work with Tiqets, or I'm already working, I want to connect Tiqets with BookingKit, then the next steps start from there. So just make sure that in this area you take that switch to activate, and then all the next steps, but it's fairly easy, will be described from there on. All right. Thank you very much, Martin. Let's see. Maybe if anyone also has a last-minute question for Martin, of course, feel free to add it also in the chat. We might have a chance in the end to also get there. But now I will give the mic to Sandra and Mike to share the Groupon view.
All right, thank you. So starting with Groupon. So again, I'm Mike Bainter. I lead business strategy. Great to meet everybody today. Sandra's with me from our London office. So we're going to talk to you a little bit about the industry, and then Sandra will share some slides about Groupon as well, and what Groupon's doing. So the theme of the session is tours and activities, the leading segment of the travel industry. And there's already been several presentations throughout the day talking about that. I would hope at this point we can all agree that tours and attractions is growing and is accelerating. So I'm not going to spend my time today kind of rehashing that. I'm going to touch on a few things, a few key points that have been communicated. But more importantly, today I want to talk about how you as operators, or we as marketing companies, can participate in that growth that is occurring in our industry. So I think after listening to all the presentations today, I hope we can all agree that people travel to experience new things. That is the reason they travel. So really the answer to the session is yes, of course. Tours and attractions are the leading segment of the industry because it's essential to why people travel. Despite that, many times experiences are still considered complementary to the trip, right? Because people book their air and their hotel because they're more expensive items. And then they look at activities and tours as something that's enhances their trip or makes the experience better. So great example for you. The first time I came to Berlin, certainly I could walk around Berlin on my own and see the sights. There's no issues with that. But I participated in the original Berlin walking tour. So they showed me, the Brandenburg Gate, where the Berlin Wall was, the spot that Ronald Reagan stood when he's like, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. I mean, all that's the great history, right? That's what you as operators do to really enhance people's trip and maximize their enjoyment of their destinations. So the challenge then for us as operators and marketing people is to figure out what are the right moments to engage consumers when they're looking at their trip or thinking about their trip, and then make it easy for them to participate in the experiences that they do. So starting off looking at this year though, so we've heard that there is going to be growth in the industry, that people want to do these things. There are going to be some headwinds as well. And so we do research with our consumers monthly. And so we gather this data to get their sentiment and kind of how they're feeling about things. So what we've seen across the board is that consumers are telling us they're going to be pulling back on discretionary spending, at least in the first half of this year, because of some of the economic uncertainty. So here in the United States, there's some inflationary pressure. Obviously over in Europe, there's some economic instabilities in some of the regions. So customers are pulling back and really rethinking their purchase habits. So in every country, we saw at least a third of the responders said they were tightening their budget. In the UK, it was upwards of 61% of people saying they were going to think about their spending a little bit more. In all the countries, 25% or more said they were delaying activities or postponing trips. Most notably, I think in Poland, we saw a majority of the shoppers said they were using money they had set aside for activities to just fulfill basic necessities like groceries. So while there is still obviously pent-up demand, it's still out there. People coming out of COVID, they want to travel. There will be a little bit of headwinds, at least this first half of the year. And we're hoping as things get to summer, that'll open up again and people will feel more comfortable traveling. So earlier today, I think, and I know Douglas does a great job with his arrival slides, you've heard, why people travel, when they travel, where they're booking their things. So Groupon, we see very similar purchase trends for our consumers. So when we look at how our consumers purchase from us, most of them are purchasing now on mobile. So over 70% of our bookings come via mobile device, either in the Groupon app or on mobile web. We also see that people tend to purchase their activities and use them in a very short window now. So we look at anywhere from 1 to 2 days as the booking window when people purchase to the time they actually enjoy their activities. And more people are choosing activities or tours or attractions where they get a confirmed booking. And that's really become more and more important coming out of COVID, to have that confirmation, to know that you're going to be able to enjoy your activity. So we saw even prior to COVID, consumers were already trending towards bookable offers. That's just accelerated. So they're no longer comfortable purchasing something and then having a secondary process where they either have to call you or email you or wait for you to email them to say, hey, you're confirmed and you're good to go. They want to know that the time they purchase, they're definitely going to be able to enjoy their activity and that it's kind of a hassle-free experience. So those capacity restrictions and pent-up demand coming out of COVID really not only impacted tours and attractions, but other industries as well. So at Groupon, we have kind of a wide range of local merchants that we work with. So one of our biggest other verticals besides tours and attractions is health and beauty. So beauty salons, nail salons, et cetera. And we've seen the same trends happen in that industry as well. So prior to COVID, a lot of times people would just purchase a nail treatment or a spa treatment, and they would just call it, then they would call the spa to confirm. Now, due to capacity restrictions or labor shortages, they need to know that they're going to be able to enjoy their treatment and they're not comfortable purchasing it. So we've seen more and more people, that's become a key decision point. Can I book the experience? Can I have a confirmed reservation at the time of purchase? And that has really accelerated that trend. We also see from the operator experience, it's much better as well, because when you have a confirmed appointment, it lessens cancellations, it lessens refunds because people are unable to use it. and it reduces your operating costs as well. So all in all, it's been a great experience kind of moving more and more towards booking. And we encourage that trend, and we hope to see that continue going forward. So really, if we accept experiences are the reason that people travel, and that tours and activities is ascending to the top of the travel ecosystem, then the real question is, what do we need to do as operators and marketers to ensure we are part of the growth? So we talk about this industry as though it's one thing, but for those of us who are part of it, we know it's multifaceted and vastly different, right? So what works for the Louvre, for instance, is going to be much, much different than what works for original Berlin Walking Tour. So there isn't going to be a singular path to success. And so what we need to do is figure out how do you plug yourself in and be at the right moment so that you're catching that wave. So in our mind, partnerships are going to play a key role in determining success going forward. So I want to talk about two types of partnerships that you guys should be thinking about. One is distribution partnerships, and then the second is ticketing and reservation platform partnerships. So distribution partnerships not only help you sell your tickets, they also build awareness with consumers when they're shopping and doing research. So they can help you maximize your marketing budget by helping you engage with consumers who may be outside your demographic or geographic areas. So you should seek out distribution partnerships that provide incremental growth for your business and help you engage with consumers at different points in the trip planning process. Some of those consumers will end up booking with you directly, but not all of them. So we recently undertook a study at Groupon of our consumers who were shopping for a specific amusement park here in the United States. And what we found is when they couldn't find that amusement park, 60% of them ended up purchasing something else. So if your company isn't present when people are shopping, then you're not even part of their consideration set, whether they buy at that time or they wait until later. So here's some key questions you should think about when you're thinking about, what are my distribution partnerships? What should I be looking for in a distribution partnership? So first is you want to ask yourself, who is the customer base for that company? And how does it compare to yours and maybe some of the other distribution partnerships you already have with? Ideally, you're minimizing overlap. So you're looking for partnerships to engage new customers instead of fighting over the same customers and just kind of cannibalizing your share. The second thing to think about is, what is the value of the customer they bring to you? Does that customer just buy a ticket? Do they generate additional revenue if you have merchandise or upsells that you can offer them? Do they return? Is this somebody that can come back to you again and again? Do they provide referrals? So can they provide additional traffic, friends and family, et cetera? So if you can identify your distribution partnerships and understand the value that they're bringing to you, the value of that customer, then you know that a higher value customer, those are the partnerships you want to invest in. So the other question to ask then is, do they help you engage customers at different points of the planning process? So like I said, a lot of times with distribution partnerships, sure, they're slated to help you sell tickets, but they're also touching on customers. So if, for instance, and I think Douglas probably presented this slide during his session, you can see there's a hierarchy of when customers book things. So they're very more likely to book performing arts kind of early in the trip planning process, and they do maybe like walking tours later on in the trip planning process. Well, if you're one of these things that are booked later in the trip planning process, you still want to be engaging customers up in the funnel so you get that mind share. So by the time they're ready to book, they've already thought about your product. So look for distribution partnerships that give you those different touch points. So that way customers are seeing your product. So by the time they're ready to book, they thought of you. And then so most importantly, obviously, is, are they easy to work with? So you want things where if you need to list your offers, if you need to make changes, they either have self-service tools or somebody to help you out with that. And then do they have integrations with booking systems like Booking Kit here to really help you reduce some of those operational burdens, right? So the vouchers and the confirmations and refunds and cancellations and stuff. So those are things that really, as you think about distribution partners, you want to be focusing on. I think the nice thing for operators, about distribution partnerships is they have a very low level of risk. So Most of them have little to no upfront costs to start up. The distribution partners themselves generally only make money if they actually sell your product. So they're essentially pay for performance models. And a lot of times, if it's not working out for you, they're very easy to discontinue and move on and try something else. So the other key partnership I brought up was the ticketing and reservation partnerships. So I can't stress again how key this is going to be to the growth and success of our industry. I mean, you've heard time and time again, the move to mobile, the move to online. These are the pipes that essentially connect all of us in this industry, and they're going to enable that growth. So as more and more consumers are shopping and purchasing online, purchasing via mobile, the operators who can engage with the consumers where they're shopping, and social's part of that as well, will have the advantage over those who are waiting until consumer gets into market to really try to start engaging them. So for those of you also who are working with distribution partners, as I mentioned, the move away from vouchers toward confirmed reservations is only going to continue to grow. We already see that demand. So at Groupon, we see higher customer satisfaction scores from consumers who purchase and have a confirmed booking. For those who have a voucher process, the best thing about that is those higher satisfaction scores in turn drive higher purchase frequency. So when we look at the customers who are booking and receiving a confirmation, in a recent study we did, we found those consumers came back and purchased from us again in higher numbers. And not only that, they bought more stuff as well because they're much more satisfied with their purchase to begin with. So just to kind of summarize, there's no doubt tours and attractions are playing a larger part of the trip planning process. The industry's growing. It's changing over the last few years has only served to accelerate those changes. There are some challenges remain though, and if we are going to fully realize the potential of the tours and attractions industry, partnerships, excuse me, and technology are going to play key roles. So Sandra and I look forward to working with each of you, participating in these sessions to make that a reality. So I'm going to turn over to Sandra now, and she'll just walk through with you a few things about Groupon.
Perfect. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Mike. So Mike and I were Groupon. Mike's on the US side. I sit on the EMEA side of things. Hopefully, most of you would have heard about Groupon, but I think it's still good to give you a bit of an overview of where we're at right now. So we currently operate in 13 countries. We have 24 million customers worldwide. And last year we sold 1.5 billion Groupons. One thing to really add to that, as much we're talking about moving in the fast lane, showing that customer satisfaction and that people are looking for bookable deals, we are really taking this seriously. So if you look at from 2019 to 2020, 2021, in 2022, we doubled our bookable inventory to what we've had before. And at the moment, we've just come out of January in 2023, and we already have grown with over 10% in terms of bookable inventory compared to what we had like a month ago. So it's more and more, we're also trying to move together with what we see that the market is wanting us to get. But that's a bit about us. But like Mike was saying, it's all about you finding the right distribution partner for you. And it's to look at like, who are their customers? So our customers are slightly more female than male, but it's still very kind of flat on flat. They're in the 25, 54 years age range. And their income average, you can see, don't think that is as important. But what I do really want to stress, and which many people says to us, and you saw the quote that was from one of our US customers, people go to Groupon to explore new things. They want to go there and say, oh, I didn't know I could do axe throwing. Or when escape rooms all of a sudden became a thing, they go on there to see something that they probably wouldn't have heard of. And that's what we're kind of alluding to. Like, if you're looking for an attraction in a park and we don't have it, if you're then not on the page, people might not even consider you because they didn't realize it was an option. So a lot of our customers are using it to find a good partner, a good thing to do, and then they go on to buy on, most of them on Groupon. And that's one thing, and I don't want to turn it into a massive sales pitch, but a lot of our customers say, like, because they're Groupon customers, if the offer wasn't on Groupon, they probably wouldn't have bought it. And one thing that we hear a lot from distribution and suppliers is that, oh, they buy a Groupon and then they never come back again. But we do see that people buy over and over again, and we are actually delivering a repeat customer. So it's all just being there and knowing that you will always be there, so that they can buy your product. But some of you must have worked with us in the past, and what we really want to stress is that we have made some really, really big changes in the last 3 years. We're not the same Groupon that we was in 2018, where we're forcing really deep discounts. It's only available for a short amount of time, or on a Tuesday night between this and this time. We're really making moves to becoming not a discounted platform, but a distribution partner. So it's always about making sure that we have the same supply available at any time, but also working with the supplier of, like, when do you need us? When do you need to have a volume of customers get through your doors? And at what point do we need to have more of a kind of sit back approach where we just need it to be available so that you're always front of mind to when the customer comes to buy? And that's something that I really want to stress. Actually, in the last year, like almost 70% of all of our sales are on low or actually no discount at all. So they are still selling. Is our customers all of a sudden going to completely change and get taught to being like, oh, Groupon isn't just offers? No, but we're making changes to kind of put them in their mindset of being like, whenever you go on Groupon, you will find the same partner and the same supply every single day. So we just wanted to kind of take the opportunity to be like, for you to meet the new Groupon and the kind of showing you the changes that we're doing to kind of meet the demands of the market and where we're heading towards. I can see some great questions coming up. One of them in German, so you might have to help me with that, Matthias.
Right. No, so thanks very much first to Sandra and to you, Mike, for presenting that. I also very much love that slide that showed like from which status is Groupon now moving where. I think that's important to share and for operators in this space to understand where Groupon is heading towards. There is one question, which is basically, let me see, now I have to open it. How people can work, how operators can work with Groupon experiences, how to get in touch, how to connect.
Sandra,
so if it's someone that is actually connected to BookingKit, we're in the process of becoming a distributor partner with BookingKit. We should be launching literally in the coming week. So if you're already working with BookingKit, it will be very similar to what Matthias was talking about, how they work with Tiqets, where you'll be able to just enable, I also want to be available on Groupon. That's one of the ways. It's similar. If you go onto Groupon, you can find, I want to connect my BookingKit account, and we will have someone reach out to you and get your inventory available on Groupon.
Absolutely. Thank you. And the next question is, Austria was not on the list of your countries. Just an observation.
Yeah.
Why is the
No, and let me clarify this. So in terms of the markets where we operate, that's where we have like an operating structure. So for example, we have a Groupon.de, a Groupon.co.uk, but we do still sell supply in like our neighboring markets. So where obviously it makes sense. I give you an example. We have a really big Slovakian ski resort available on our Polish platform, because the Polish market is one of the biggest ski resorts that they go to. So where we see things like that, people will travel. Like we've worked with a lot of partners that sits in Scandinavia or in Switzerland and in Austria as well, because people are willing to travel there. And that's what you have to think of as well. Groupon is also part of a travel business. We sell hotels and so forth as well as stays. And part of that is also then to be able to also offer the experiences alongside that. So if we know someone is going to go to Austria, then we're also like, these are things that you can experience and book on Groupon to do in Austria. So this is only where we have like an actual .de, .com presence where we operate, but we still offer products outside of those markets.
Makes sense. So also for you, Wolfgang, makes sense to get in touch and to connect with Groupon. There is one question that, of course, is interesting to every operator here. What is your commission structure?
So the commission structure obviously varies very much by market. So it's hard to kind of go in. It depends on like what is your company offering, what market are you in. But our sales teams are absolute superstars. So that we don't have kind of like a rack rate where it's like, this is the commission and the margin that we have on everything. It's very much something that we work through. And especially if you have a peak and an off-peak offering, we understand like at peak, you might want to offer a different price than when you need to actually drive volume. So yeah, I would love to give a magical answer, but I will leave the sales guys to do that.
Understood. Staying in that area of which countries, which kind of operators is Groupon interesting for? There is one question from Nelly, I believe. I can't fully read it, although I'm wearing glasses. It's too far away. So sorry if I misspelled that. The question is Hungary on the list of the countries, Budapest specifically?
Once again, it all depends on what the offering is. If it's like that you're offering your very small local merchant and that is offering something very specific in Hungary, that will probably better sit in like a travel package. Because also the last thing you want, if for example, you imagine yourself, you go on to groupon.co.uk and search for attractions and all you get is attractions in Hungary, they'd be like, oh, but I'm in the UK, shouldn't you show me attractions for the UK? So we always try and work with a partner where it will fit best on our website. So for some of you that might use Groupon, if you go into more the travel space, there's where we have more like regional stuff. So it all kind of depends on the offering and the attraction and the tours that you're offering. Because in the end, we try to make it sense for the customer.
Yeah, if I could just add into that too, I think maybe some of the confusion is if you're looking for Hungary on a Groupon website, you're not going to find it because we don't have, as Sandra alluded to, an operating presence in Hungary. So Groupon is set up based on our operating presence. So you'd have to think more about people that are coming to Budapest, where are they coming from? And so if they're coming from Munich per se, then we could put it on our German website to the Munich market and offer it there. Or if they're coming out of France, we could put it in Paris, right? So Groupon's set up to more engage customers where they live, not necessarily where they're traveling to. So our business model is a little bit different than like say Tiqets or some of the other OTAs that are out there.
And to close it off, there is like one or two questions that go into that direction of basically how to work with you. There is one of I guess the operator is located in Cambria. There is one question there. Plus, you already mentioned earlier, if you are a BookingKit customer, so there is nothing that we have announced yet. But if you are a BookingKit customer, just wait for an announcement. It might be possible very short term to connect very easily to Groupon. For those who are not, how can they get in touch? How can they set up their experiences with Groupon?
So we have a Groupon merchant. So if you search online, I'm happy to share with BookingKit afterwards. I don't know if something is going to be sent out, and we can share like where you can click to speak to one of our sales team to get your product on board.
Sounds good. All right. So that closes our session. Also the question section now. Thank you very much, everyone here. So thanks to Sandra, Mike, and Martin for sharing all of these insights for Groupon and Tiqets. And hope to see you in a month, basically, at Arrival or ITB in Berlin. Very much looking forward to that. This is the end of the day. That was our last session at Experiences Connect. So thank you to all speakers which we had today. Thanks for everyone who attended, who also actively attended, shared their questions, and so on. It was a blast.